Welcome back everyone, Bolt Spider here, and today we're going on to the next format, and this is the September 2011 format. Last time we were all the way back in lovely May 2008, all the way through March 2011. With this new edition of the XYZ's Monsters in September 2011, we bring you Chaos Dragons. Chaos Dragons were a powerhouse deck that came from a structure deck utilizing the finally awaited Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon with the return of Blackluster Soldier, Dark Arm Dragon, and Gores. It seems like we've seen these guys a lot, this trio. And also this deck utilizing the 3 Chaos Sorcerer, Lila, Charge of the Light Brigade, and Solar Recharge. This deck used Future Fusion to send your Eclipse Wyverns and Light Pulsars to the graveyard, so you can get 5-headed dragon out in a few turns. This deck also utilized a small XYZ engine of running Triple Tour Guide, Sangan, Card Trooper, and, well, a lovely hand trap being Effect Veiler at the time. With this deck, it utilized banishing things off, summoning it back with Levier the Sea Dragon, and going for game. This deck was notorious for summoning Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon so many times that on the next list it was limited. With the limitation of Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon after this, it created some issues with the deck, as alongside of the hit, they also hit a few other cards to slow down the deck, phasing out Lightsworn Era, but that doesn't matter. Next format, we had March 2012 being Insector format, triple Dragonfly, triple Hornet. We're back, baby. They're back at 3, and the deck doesn't do much anymore because it's slow. This deck, again, utilized Blackluster Soldier and Gores, but not Dark Arm Dragon this time, which is very suspicious. Also, it had the power card of Thunder King Ryo and Effect Veiler to get rid of your nasty needs. The deck also used Pot of Duality to dig further for your Hornet, so you can pop cards and Centipede to search, and Dragonfly to summon out, well, another Centipede. The deck also used Excalibur to pop by Hornet, so you can extend further, and the lovely XYZ list is almost the same as the last list. But let's not haste that far. The only cards that were added were Utopia Ray and Acid Golem at the time. They also dropped things like Scrap Dragon, as well, we had MST at 3, and a few other cards. Upon that, Brionic became this staple in the extra deck, but it was very interesting how you make it. You monster reborn your opponent's monster, or you can use Effect Veiler with a level 4 and another level 1, or a level 1 and a 5, because at the time, Chaos Dragons were running about, kind of. But after this, happened to be Shocklock. This deck dropped Blackluster Soldier, but Gores is still a staple. It used the Tour Guide engine with Singin, and windups are a threat to be. You don't want to joke around with this deck. I don't know where I was going with that point. Wind Up Rabbit, banished itself, summoned itself back. Okay, cool. Wind Up Magician, cool. Literally, the whole deck summons out a monster. Wind Up Shark summons itself. If a Wind Up's normal special. Magician specials out a Wind Up, I believe. Yep, specials 1 from your deck, and Rat specials 1 as well from wherever it is from your graveyard. It also utilized cards like Wind Up Factory, because, well, Konami didn't learn about once per turn effects. Like, yeah. They made it where, oh, you can only activate this card. This effect can only be used once while it's face on the field. That didn't matter where you can summon multiples. If you could summon multiples of a card, it didn't matter if it had that clause, because you're still going off. This deck was only missing 2 cards, and that was 2 copies of Zenmaity. Wind Up carries Zenmaity, caused a hand loop. But with this, it didn't really do much because Shockmaster came out and this deck was notorious to just summon it out. I don't know why, but yeah. And people want this card to come back. Shockmaster, no. This deck also utilized Starlight Road, Compulse, finally, along with Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, Mystical Space Typhoon, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, so much back row destruction that I wish we had. But yeah, we just got Lightning Storm. But I'm 8 years ahead of myself with this. But a lot of things never change. Like Spirit Reaper is the main staple in every deck. People really didn't use hand traps because, well, they were not really useful. At the time, the only hand traps that there were Maxi, Effect Veiler, and Droll and Lockboard, Bird, and Gores. If you drop Maxi against this, they're probably just gonna hand loop you and deck you out. And you don't want that to happen. Next, we have the March 2013 format. This was after the ban of the Baby Dragon Rulers and Spellbook of Judgment. Luckily, Spellbook of Judgment was banned, and this was the deck. This deck overpowered Dragon Rulers as, well, I don't, because they weren't full power anymore, but next list, you guys, I think you'll see in a few lists what's going to happen. Now, with how the extra deck was, people really didn't care what they ran. They only ran essential cards, like staples like Big Eye, Gaia Charger, and Maestroke. Other staple cards were Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole. Prophecies utilize things like Wonder Wand, Threatening Roar, Breaker the Magic Warrior, and Tsukiyomi because of their spellcaster natures and spell trap recovery and battle negation. Spellbook Magician, a prophecy, is the only monster in the whole archetype that is spellbook, so you could search it off with secrets and pump it up with power. Plus, you can reveal it with Master, which was a great time. This deck still reigns supreme as the grind game is pretty good, but yet the deck is slow even though we have Crawley as a card. Next, we have a card or a deck that I played personally, being Bujin. Bujin was a helmet deck, and this is not the Kaiser Coliseum build because that was a little after. With Bujin, you would go Yamato, effect, add a Bujin, discard a card. Most likely you would search out Crane, send Quillen. The only thing that was hit in this deck was Tenki to 2. And with Tenki going to 2, it didn't do much. And Honest was at 1 at the time, so you essentially had 4 Honests. I remember when Honest went to 3, and this deck had 6 Honests, and it didn't do much. This deck uses cards like Horn of the Phantom Beast, Fire Formation Tenki, and a few other great utility cards like Forbidden Lance and Forbidden Chain. Cards that no one would be caught playing today unless you're playing a interesting stun deck. Now, after September, we had the short 2 months of Dragon Ruler Sixth Sense. Sixth Sense was a OCG exclusive card for 10 years. This card is the only forbidden card on the list that involves gambling. Now, this list is the Mythic Ruler list that utilized Divine Felgrand, Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand, Mythic Water Dragon, and Mystic Water and Mystic Earth Dragon. Along in this deck, it ran 3 of every Dragon Ruler, 1 fire target, which was hilarious at the time, and a lot of other interesting tech choices. It ran 2 Maxis, a Gold Sark, and Sacred Sword of 7 Stars since the deck was 7, and Dragon Ravine to fill up your graveyard. This deck was the epitome of Tier 0 at the time because of Sixth Sense. Calling 5/6, either you draw that much or mill whatever you didn't get. So if you called 6, you get 6 cards in hand, but if you roll, but the roll is wrong, you get to send that many numbers, which is very, very interesting. And after that, we had Mermail. Now, this build of Mermail was the slow version of normal Abyss Gun, set Abyss Sphere, or setting Lindy, and setting Sphere, and passing. Now, this deck had only one Dragoon at the time since it got hit down to 1 because of, well, this deck alone and a couple other things. But with this build, it was OTK centric, and Mermail Abyss Megalo was $100 per copy at the time. Abysseus was a $50 ulti and a $30 ultra, but that didn't stop players from playing it, as this deck utilized so much, being a Bahamut Shark into their Link 3, or their rank 3, being Abyss Trite. By using the effects of the Mermails, discarding the Atlanteans, you also get the additional effects of either searching with Dragoons, popping a card with the lovely Marksman of a set card, and Infantry on a face-up card on the field. So you had the utility, so you didn't really have to run things like MST, but people still did because it is great. Back row removal when you need it. After that, we have 3.5 Axis Fire Fist, utilizing the Soul Charge card, and Upstart with the 3 Tankies and Vanity Emptiness. This is one of the decks that people started utilizing and realizing that Emptiness was a great card and Soul Charge was broken. This deck is the epitome of have fun, good luck, you're not playing. If you get rid of my Vanity's Emptiness, I always have another one, or a Solemn Warning, or a Chalice, or Lance. With this deck utilizing Tiger King, Rooster, Spirit, Leopard, Bear, Gorilla, and Dragon, those were the main monsters in the deck, and using the one Wolfbark. Wolfbark was limited to 1 because of the utility that it had with the deck and search, and the searchability you had. Wolfbark was a instant rank 4. Sadly, but surely it made its way to the limited list. Next format is going to be for the next video, as we are done with the XYZ format. After this, we're going from Duelist Alliance format all the way to Zodiac format. This is going to be one roller coaster of emotions for me, as we're coming up to the years where I played everything. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that like button down below, and if you want to see more, please subscribe for future content, as I upload every day at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider. See you guys in the next video, and goodbye.